action. What's up? Good dawn to you. And I wanted to reflect on my interview on Awaken Your Mind channel with Derek Barticelli, and he's one of the guys in the One Great Work Network, and also shout out to Crip Rick for popping in. Crip Rick is part of One Great Work Network, and he's also over at Revolution Radio, which is my former station that I was a producer and show host for many, many, many years. Took a break from it all, came back to TFR. TFR was having trouble, and it ran its course, so I was grateful for it. So yeah, you can see the stream because I used Restream to host it. So it's all there in the channel. It's all there in the channel, and the connection to his channel. And we went 5 hours. We went a while. We went quite a while, right? Like we did a straight run, 2 hour, 45 minutes, 50 minutes or so of my thing. There was, I think we spoke for like 15 minutes before everything got started, and I think we spoke, we must have spoke for like an hour or two afterwards. Derek had a ton of questions. I had a lot of participation in the chat room, and almost all the chat got thrown up by Restream on the broadcast. So you get to hear other people's commentary on my presentation. And it was great getting the question that Derek really wanted to pop out about the whole dreaming angle, right? So that was a lot of fun, because that was one of the things he really appreciated, was how, like, I made this whole thing saying the will to dream, which is, I titled it as such because I was finding something about this story in particular that is making a different kind of point, right? There's also, I open up that video with numerology, with the 506 numerology, and I double checked, and the 506 numerology is also the portal at the opening of the first Matrix film. So we actually have similar motifs in that respect, because of how I broke down all that symbolism, right? And putting a handful of ideas about tarot card representation in the film, particularly the analyst's role as the Hierophant. Because we often have a very neutral perception of the Hierophant, right? And this story is one of those stories that uses the Hierophant in a far more antagonistic manner as a character. and the Hierophant would make perfect sense as that, right? It's the same thing like the Architect, right? Because this guy, in every respect, is basically the replacement for the Architect. The Architect built the Matrix, and this is one of the things, right? Because the Oracle and the Architect were connected to each other. No more Oracle means no more Architect. They both moved on as they had served their purpose for the algorithm of that manifestation of the Matrix. And that is what we experienced, was that transition period. The fourth Matrix film was an allegory for what was happening in our civilization globally in real time, with the Great Reset, right? The reset in and of itself was inevitable. By the merit of everyone's participation in the infrastructure of the world to shut everything down, it means obviously we gotta get things back up and running, right? And it was a question of what survives the cut. What survives the cut after you've had your purge period, right? Because the Hierophantic forces of the world had changed their script. They were no longer saying, oh, this is the way and this is the way, right? You know, in a sense, the Hierophant was also upholding the law of Pisces for the age of Pisces that we were in. Now we are in the Aquarian age. So there's new rules. There's new rules. And so there's just an inherent power structure shift that, you know, society needs to go in the ways it wants to go, whether it's being manipulated by that or being properly developed by that way that it wills to go. You still have the wisdom to follow the trends, understand what's going to make it and what's not going to make it, right? And you know, this is why you see the disconnect between the mainstream film industry and the people, or at least you were seeing that. Things are kind of coming back into alignment now, with guys like Villeneuve making Dune, and you just have to have a handful of like high quality films that are like an example of like, okay, does this make everybody happy? Technically, right? And it's like, yes, like in a real way, which does involve dismissing the nauseous, on its nose social theater, because of course you want your film to have a story that's going to support the issues that are very personal to you. Corey Adams, what's up, Corey? James Cameron, when he made The Abyss, he was looking at society's violence towards each other and environmental matters, and he kind of made that a subtext of the film, which also gets cut unless you've seen his director's cut. But that kind of thing gets out there, and it's an interesting circumstance when you ask yourself, why do we find it in bad cinema that you would have a scene in a film where your antagonist's motivations are your ruining where we live, right? We live here too, right? Which is contextual to why these things are actually having an issue with a crashed nuclear submarine at their doorstep, i.e. the Marianas Trench, right? Because that's kind of like that abyss is the portal to their world, and you're watching this is mythology, right? These aren't aliens. These are water spirits. This is Njord's territory. This is Ron, drowning her sailors. Right? These are primordials. These are the entities of the realms of the primordial sea gods. Right? These people are Neptune's people. All right? That's what you're looking at. Conjuring up oceanic whatevers. These are, they're sea elves, perhaps, because when you see their face, you know that they're going for that kind of a gray alien look, right? So anyway, the Matrix film is unlike films like that because it gets into super universal personal themes as opposed to something that's kind of making a social commentary about the environment and people being violent and shitty towards each other, et cetera, right? And a lot of people have their rights to criticize filmmakers, for various things and pretensions and all that stuff. Well, it's important, all that stuff's talked about, but, sometimes you also gotta sit there and say, look, it's not that I buy into any bullshit, but I do care about the environment, right? And we used to at least say that because we let the liberal have their fucking film, or whoever. We're letting whoever have their film, celebrating their talent, having a respectful discussion that doesn't insult them personally about why they think their idea is wrong. So on and so forth, right? What's up, Lee? So yeah, there was a lot. Derek asked another really great question in the interview that I was delighted that he asked for me to answer, because I didn't get much of a chance to talk about Agent Smith's transformation at the beginning of the film, when all hell breaks loose. He finds the gun lying on the ground, and then it does something to him, and it awakens Agent Smith in his psyche, right? And he kind of sets himself free by looking through it, right? Because I was hinting at comments that I didn't have time to say in the original video, that, they may be playing off of psychopathy, right? And making it just so complicated because of the not understandable idiosyncrasies of another program, right? And he is getting back into name etymology. Neo is Thomas Anderson. No matter what level of transubstantiation, he will always be Thomas Anderson or Mr. Anderson to Smith. Why? He's almost like the material realist who he likes his weird friend, but he's much more of like a normal guy, right? It's just like Agent Smith was king in the Matrix, right? It's just like as the Guardian, as the dark shepherd of the people plugged into the system, right? Bestowed with great, powerful responsibility by the architect and Deus Ex Machina, right? And there's something he doesn't like about the limitations he has in doing his job, that he can't get more power to do his job from the people that have bestowed him with that position. So he goes rogue after he gets defeated, for no other reason than his own personal agenda for controlling the Matrix, right? And so he's still a character of personal agenda, and it's another level of freedom for his kind that is being discussed. It puts him in kind of that Loki territory of, is he or isn't he, right? You understand a couple of basic things that he has promised to be how he's going to act. It's like Neo and Trinity must live. I must deal with the Analyst, and you're not allowed to destroy the Analyst, etc., etc. Right? So there's some terms and conditions where it's just like, my old enemy, we're just going to have a very annoying, endless, pointless battle if all of these things happen, right? And this is an interesting dynamic. So Thomas is connotative of a twin. A Thomas is a twin, right? So in a very absolute direct sense, because there's a lot of reflection and twinning and twins reflecting each other kind of situation, in a very particular way because of the insistence of the Thomasness of Neo, which is also, Thomas is also associated with doubt because of doubting Thomas in our mythos, or in the biblical mythos that we are thrown at us, and we can see where doubting Thomasisms get us. So he is the doubting twin of the Son of Man. That is the name of Thomas Anderson. That is the Matrix title of the One, Neo. And so think about it, like I keep talking about binary, right? I bring up the very important overlooked point that he's trying to make a game. He's trying to tell a story about binary principles. Thus, we talk about the I Ching because of its fundamental roots and rudimentaries in the I Ching. I talk a whole lot about Zero being the portal, which I've been recently ranting about in context to destroying the Terrence Howard anti-math inversions, which should become extraordinarily apparent to anybody at this point. Yeah, so, and I talk about the idiocracy, right? I talk about the team of bots that work at the company that are meant to take care of it, take care of the franchise product. Now that Thomas Anderson has nothing to do with the company anymore because he's out being Neo, right? And how they are the kinds of people that fuel the world with the pop culture of the thing without the depth of the thing itself, right? And, you know, and the movie is just sitting there just saying, like, we have to troll you just to be a successful fucking film. Because, you know, somebody likes us enough to want us to actually still put out the Matrix message. But we're forced by marketing to deal with the infantile things that you like. right? And then, although the movie kind of talks about degrading the infantile things through the examples of guys like that character, it ultimately gives you still amazing set pieces that are not trying to insult you. They're still beautiful actions and chases and fights, you know? And I talk about how much I just fucking love the entire battle to free Trinity. That whole fucking sequence, magnifique. Magnifique in this level of cyberpunk storytelling. The movie suffered from it being produced in Hollywood in 2021. That's the movie's only fucking problem. Other than that, everything that you could do with the limits of mankind that were put upon it in filmmaking in 2021, it was a pretty fantastic film. All right. I will catch you guys later.